So just to kick us off, thank you all for being here. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules. Let's go ahead and start with just some intros. You can start down on this side. Do you want to share your name, your year at Cal Poly, obviously your major concentration, and then like anything that you're involved in on campus?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi everyone, thank you for being here. My name is Megan Morrison. I'm a fourth year business, of course, entrepreneurship concentration. I'm originally from Orange County, and some of my club involvements on campus are Alpha Kappa Psi, which is one of the co-ed professional business fraternities on campus. And outside of that, I'm also in the Real Food Collaborative, which is a sustainable food club on campus. If you've ever seen people on Dexter with a bunch of menus in front of them, that's us.
My name is Ruby Ramirez. I'm also a fourth year business administration student, concentrating on entrepreneurship. I'm a transfer student here. So I do like the fun PDs every day.
Hey guys, I'm Seamus. I'm a fifth year, graduating this quarter. OCOP School of Business, right? Entrepreneurship concentration, minor in sales. The entrepreneurship club, the CPE, like going to later on. In the wrestling club, the attorney, and in the hatchery as well, we'll talk about later. Staying very involved in the entrepreneurship program here at Cal Poly.
So much that you want to stick around for one last.
I think that was like
Yeah.
My name is Thaddeus. I'm also a fifth year. I'll probably be finishing in the spring of 2024. Business entrepreneurship, also a transfer student. I actually worked with Ruby like I don't know, my first year at Cal Poly, so that was 3 years ago. Yeah. So it's funny to see her in here, but yeah, I would say, let's see here, campus involvement, a lot through the CIE, so there's like a lot of programs and school competitions and all sorts of opportunities to work on projects or win money that I've been involved with for the last 2 years.
Okay, so just to kick off our panel, how would you describe the entrepreneurship concentration to someone who doesn't know anything about it, and what makes it unique as compared to other concentrations? And we don't have to go in any particular order.
I'll start. It's very open-ended. I mean, it allows you to take the path you want to take, the classes you want to take. It's very. There's not a lot of right or wrong answers to entrepreneurship, right? You go to finance, you do the right calculation, the wrong calculation, right? It's a lot of majors. And entrepreneurship is not really a wrong answer a lot of times. It's very like project oriented, and it's very group oriented as well. You have a lot of group projects, a lot of presentations, a lot of like actual simulations of starting a business. It really is very hands-on, learn by you, like Apple emphasizes. But the biggest thing I think that stands out about entrepreneurship is no really right answer. Some students don't like. Some students like to have the right answer. But for a lot of entrepreneurs, we accept and actually excel with the opportunity of not having the right answer. Kind of like you make your own right answers. You make it right by your work and your collaboration on those ideas. So very, very open-ended.
Yeah, I would say that in addition to being open-ended, it really is up to you to get out what you put in. So that's like a very cliche thing to say, but it's absolutely true, particularly in the entrepreneurship concentration. So in all the other concentrations, you're going to have like various coursework and various like a senior project, if you don't know what that is. Actually, are they first year, second, third? Like what years?
I think the first years.
Okay, well, yeah.
Whoa, nice.
So,
Or first year transfer.
yeah. Okay,
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's gonna be like a senior project that you're gonna have to do, and the one thing about the entrepreneurship senior project is it's very open to what you want to do. It's obviously like business related, it's in business school, so you're not gonna be necessarily like doing an engineering thing. But the cool thing is you could be working with engineers to do some engineering projects. So there's like this really cool collaboration that can happen between what you want, ideas that you have, or career goals or project goals that you have, and the ability to collaborate with other people. So open-ended, and then as much as you can put into it.
Yeah, I want to add on that open-endedness of like, I like thinking of entrepreneurship as like, you can go anywhere with it. Like, you're not just kind of like, I mean, with any concentration, you're not stuck to where you're at, but you learn so much from each concentration that one day you decide, you know what? I want to be an accountant, or I want to do finance, or I want to go into real estate, like it has this like whole like tool set that's gonna help you go pretty much wherever you want to go.
Yeah, entrepreneurship, and a lot of our professors will preach this, but it is really a mindset. It can be applied anywhere. So wherever you end up, whether that be, at a big consulting firm or at a startup, that entrepreneurial mindset can be applied anywhere. It's the free thinking, it's the creative problem solving. I'm now in third class where I've had a real life client that we've been working with. Most of them tend to be local to SLO County, but I've had classes where I'm from Texas, and it really is applicable in any setting that you go.
If someone want to define entrepreneurship, like what is entrepreneurship?
Innovation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you asking us or no?
Yeah, I'm asking you all, like, what, like, I know we're just throwing around entrepreneurship, but it's like, what is that? That's
Yeah.
like,
Great question.
yeah.
That's a great question. I think it's honestly up to the individual to decide, but I think that it's a combination of, it's like a process and, what was the word you just used?
Innovation.
Yeah, and innovative.
No, I totally just putting on it, but, mindset. It's a process and a mindset, so it's a collaboration of the two. And I think that's why it's so applicable to any field that you go into, is because it's not one thing, but it's a combination of a few different.
When I hear entrepreneurship, I think of like starting a business. I think a lot of you guys probably have a connotation of entrepreneurship, like starting your own business. Like that definitely is a good part of entrepreneurship. There's a lot more that goes into it. Entrepreneurs aren't always the CEO, and they hop on teams, stuff like that as well. Entrepreneurship, I think, is a mindset. I like that when they said that a lot. It's constantly looking for ways of change, innovation, right? And creating change. I think entrepreneurship too, like the ability to create change, make social impact. A lot of times entrepreneurship as well. And I think it's very impactful. I think you create a lot more change in Kansas than county, right? You can really change society environment, entrepreneurship, creating, whether it's an eco-friendly business or you have some kind of idea, whatever it might be, it doesn't have to be your own business. There's a lot of opportunity for entrepreneurship to make an impact and really innovate.
Some of you might be hearing this and like, you're feeling all excited about it and it feels really cool, and others might feel a little terrified of like the ambiguity and the lack of like clarity. And that's, if I pay attention to those things, I feel like the students that I see really love and thrive in entrepreneurship, like do not like the idea of pigeonholing themselves into one quote unquote job function. So you think of like like your other concentrations are job functions, marketing, finance, accounting. Those are like what you do in a job, right? And you could do that anywhere. You could do those things at a startup. You could do them at like the biggest company in the world. Entrepreneurship is not a job function. And so that can be really exciting for students because you're learning how to do a lot of different things, but through that entrepreneurship lens and that mindset. All right. So note that key distinction. I find that students that really are drawn to entrepreneurship are like, I don't want to pigeon myself into one job function. I like the idea of understanding like business as a whole and being able to step in and wear a lot of hats and have really dynamic experiences rather than focusing on one sliver of a business function. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that also comes to being a risk taker as well, because you have more security out of your own, right? You'll be an accountant, you don't always be job for accountants. So entrepreneurship would really secure the same field. But I think it has a lot of potential and the ability to grow from the field. But definitely understanding that there is an aspect of risk taking entrepreneurship.
Okay, so really quickly, this isn't even on, this is, let's just dive into this right now before we talk about how you decided on it. But like, what are some common myths about entrepreneurship concentration or like misconceptions? I know one, maybe you could elaborate on a little bit, is that you have to start your own company.
Yeah, I think it's a very common myth that people come into this concentration thinking they have to have their own business or that they have to create their own business throughout college. The majority of kids who graduate from entrepreneurship, in fact, last year during my cohort, majority of students who graduated had not started a business. They had hopped on projects and done teams, but most of the people who graduated college have not started a business. So a lot of people, freshmen, sophomores, have these expectations, myth they have already had that started a business, have some kind of entrepreneurial experience to hop into this field, which is not true. There are definitely some students who have, who will be intimidate you when you first go into the industry, because they have that experience and have started businesses, but understand it's not the norm, and it's not something that needs to be, something that you need to have experience in, to be in entrepreneurship. You have plenty of opportunities to create businesses, hop on teams, get involved in projects throughout the time here. They teach you the skills you need, and they provide you opportunities to start a business. So don't shy away if you haven't had that experience yet.
Absolutely. Misconceptions, one that I heard a lot was that it was easy. Definitely from my finance and IS and accounting concentration friends, but I would say that it's difficult in a different way. Of course, in the more traditional concentration, you're studying, you're taking exams, you're studying, you're taking exams. Entrepreneurship, like you mentioned earlier, it's very project-based. You're gonna have a lot of presentations. You're gonna learn public speaking very quickly. You're gonna have call-outs and stand-ups at each class, and it's gonna be very collaborative. Not only are you likely gonna have a few clients, but your professors also expect that level of communication and professionalism from you as well. So maybe you won't be taking as many exams and things, but you will definitely have several deliverables that you will have in each class.
I think those are like, I think the two main like misconceptions that I like came here having was like, oh, it's like the easiest concentration you can pick, and like, yeah, you're gonna have to start a business. But the more I got into the entrepreneurship environment here, the more I learned that there's so much other opportunity than having to take that risk of making a business, and all that innovation is like really exciting and fun to do. But if you just kind of want to like learn more about how businesses as a whole, or just like the functions, decision making, where maybe more like the corporate end, and like what they do on that side, this is definitely like a huge opportunity, especially too, like I'm taking a class right now where they teach you like how to be an investor and like learn about like what are like safe investments, what are not, and things like that. So even if that excites you, it's like something you can look forward to.
Yeah, I would say this might not be one that you're stoked to hear, but I think a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, I want to do entrepreneurship. I want to be my own boss and like do my own thing. And you could be the CEO of a company, controlling your, the project that you're working on, but entrepreneurs and oftentimes the CEOs they have like the most bosses out of anybody, because they have a board of directors that they have to work with and respond to. They have investors that they have to work with and respond to. So there's this, I think, a misconception that like, oh, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to be the boss of everybody and not let anybody dictate what I do. And like, to some extent, yes, but I think most often that's
How are we doing? You guys engaged? You doing good? Why do you guys want to do entrepreneurship? You guys want to input on what brought you to our panel? Why are you guys interested in entrepreneurship? Yeah.
So I want to go into food service, like start my own like restaurant or coffee shop, because I've actually worked at a coffee shop for a couple years back home, and it's something I really enjoy. But I haven't heard much about like the food service side of things, because a lot of people talk about tech and whatnot, because that's the mainstream field, right? Do you guys have any, I guess, tips on food service?
I absolutely have a tip on that. I would say like before I even came to Cal Poly, before I was accepted here, they have like what's called like the 90-second elevator pitch and like startup launch weekend and stuff, and like what they look for is like innovation, right? So you say you want to start a boba shop, but what would make you different? So that's something like here that they would want, like what's going to make you stand out from like every other boba shop out there. And if you have some sort of way to like put a twist on the boba shop that people are excited about, I would say that's like would be my biggest tip for bringing that here. Also just getting like really involved. There's a lot of like food science clubs too. Getting connected with them, because then you can like learn, different formulas or things like that. And yeah, there's definitely opportunity for future here. I'm actually working with like a lot of things right now for like senior project. That's a good one. Keep thinking.
There's no shortage of opportunities. A week or two ago, the CIE Hot House downtown, which I'll go into later, which is an entrepreneurship funded program. They had a guest speaker come in for a seminar, he was a serial entrepreneur in the food service industry. He started a handful of restaurants. He had like a 2 hour seminar downtown, which I had signed up for, but I had confidence, couldn't go, unfortunate. However, it was all about his insights to the restaurant industry, starting restaurants, what he's learned, like the kind of like, it's not a very, promising industry, right? People fail all the time, restaurant industry. He was giving his insights to restaurant industry, the food service industry, and all that kind of stuff. So there's constantly opportunities they provide you to get always crazy insights, crazy guest speakers, like get involved in the restoration program, besides just concentration, get taking advantage of all of the CIE Hot House, the hatchery and CPE, all these things that they active for the BNAT guys, but role entrepreneurship programs to provide these kind of opportunities. All of a sudden you see the guest speaker who's a serial entrepreneur in the food service industry, right? That's not uncommon. You have these very high class guest speakers come in to the program. So there's always going to be opportunity for you in any industry you want. I totally agree with what you said about how it's like they teach you the foundation of starting business, which is like finding something that makes you different. Finding how you're going to add more value to the next local shop around the corner, right? So that's really the entrepreneurship program really does. It helps you understand how to create value and how to communicate that value as well to customers, find the right customers. It goes beyond when you think about business, you think about like the product you're gonna sell or how much you're gonna sell it for. This is way beyond that. This takes it breaks it all down way farther and figures out like how you're going to create value, how you think about value to your possible clients. So any aspirations you have, food, nursing, marine biology, whatever it possibly be, astronomy, whatever it might be, entrepreneurship, you shouldn't shy away from because of that.
And you'll have the opportunity. Do any of you else have an idea, and that's why you're here? You're like, I kind of have an idea of what I want a company that I want to start.
That's totally fine.
So that's really fine. But what's really cool is for those of you that do, in a lot of those classes in your group projects, there could be an opportunity to actually work on your idea in your company. And that's what I've heard from a lot of entrepreneurship students that were like, hey, I have this little side business that I'm running. Like in one of their class projects for their entire quarter, they were able to work with a team of other students in their class to help them grow that specific business or that idea.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah.
Like, since based off of the question you just asked about people having ideas, so I didn't see too many hands, but or like you could raise your hand if you're here just exploring different concentrations. You're not sure yet. I would say the one thing about entrepreneurship that I've found the most value is, and you'll hear this over and over throughout your time at school, like any job or any career path that you want to really pursue is not about the skill set you develop in college, but it's about the network you develop with people that you know. And at least from my perspective, like the entrepreneurship network that is established through the CIE and through Cal Poly.
That's the CIE we can say.
Oh yeah, so the CIE is kind of a part of Cal Poly. It stands for the Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. It's like widely funded by a lot of different people, alumni, people outside of Cal Poly. There's many components to it. I don't know if I want to get into all of it,
Yeah.
but there's just an enormous network of people. Like I spent some time over the last summer working with the CIE, and yeah, just talking to people from like any sort of company, food industry, tech, like agriculture. You can probably name any industry, and we've talked to people or have connections to these people. And it's not just like, mom and pop business, but it's like millionaires or multi-millionaires or almost billionaires that are coming to this program. So it's a pretty epic network to get connected to.
Okay, so let's dive off of that and just share. Can you all share, like, how did you know entrepreneurship was the right fit for you? And like when you were in their shoes, kind of exploring all the different options, how did you know? And then what were there some things that you got exposed to or that you participated in that were like, oh yeah, that is why this is a good fit. Like that helped me really decide.
Yeah, I think really in choosing my concentration, I was lucky enough to take a few of the core major classes first, so accounting, finance, marketing. And I did like marketing, that probably would have been my second choice. I knew right away finance and accounting wasn't for me. That's just how it is sometimes. When you know, and that's definitely very true. And I knew also that I wanted flexibility. I think, especially in today's political, social climate, all of that, things are changing constantly. And I saw entrepreneurship as an opportunity to, again, gain a mindset and a skill set that could be applied anywhere. I think you mentioned it earlier, high risk, high reward. Of course, accounting, finance, information systems, those are all going to be very stable jobs. Businesses can't run without them, don't get me wrong, but entrepreneurs are the ones that are starting businesses and that are advising those businesses. Entrepreneurs can absolutely be consultants as well. That's kind of what we're doing in the classes that we're clients in, is we're coming in to a company and evaluating and say, okay, this is where we're at. These are the problems that we have, how are we going to move forward? And so I think that flexibility, that creative problem solving is originally what drew me to entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. I would say the idea of the flexibility was like the biggest push for me. I'm a student with attendance, meaning that I have children. So when I was thinking of my concentration, I was really focusing on what is the rest of my career life going to look like. Do I want to do something where I'm going to be locked in 8 hours every day, or do I want to try to create my own path where I can dictate, okay, I'm going to have this time here and this time there, so I can read my schedule. That was basically like my biggest thing. Also too, just the idea of like innovation and like being able to create something new and know how to sustain that creation was super exciting.
Yeah, for me, so as I said, most students in the concentration don't have their own business, don't be intimidated by that. Some students do. I started my own business in high school. I've always been an entrepreneur. So I kind of knew this is something I had the capability of doing, running my own business. So I saw my capabilities early and I knew potential entrepreneurship provides you. So I ran with it. But for me, I came to Cal Poly knowing I was going to be an entrepreneurship skill. Yeah, I only went to college with entrepreneurship programs as well. So I was very set in stone. But that's not very common in the program. And most students do not come to college to run business. So you're not being intimidated by that. But yeah, that's the deal.
I would say I spent a lot of time like looking on the COB webpage, like reading through all the various concentrations, which hopefully you don't do as well. And just was thinking about what sounded interesting, what sounded like something I would want to spend the next bit of time doing. And I think with the entrepreneurship program, it just seemed like there was a lot more room for creativity. So I'm more of a divergent thinker, and so I was like, oh, this seems much more attuned to kind of that divergent thinking and creativity than some of the other concentrations. Ironically, I think finance was like my second choice. But what's really cool is that even through the entrepreneurship program, there's been opportunities to pursue the like finance mindset and learning as well.
Do y'all have any questions? Yeah, do you want to hop in? Yeah.
One question for you, you said you started a business in high school, do you still do that business?
I still, yep, I run it. I started a home services business on the East Coast. I'm probably grew up in Maryland. So we started power washing, power wash houses. We started painting houses, landscaping. These days we power wash, painting, landscaping, local moving, truck removal, window washing, gutter cleaning, kind of we do home services. I still live locally here. So throughout college, I've been educated through the program about how to utilize my resources and pretty much automate my business in a sense. So I've now like onboarded Salesforce and I have payroll system. I have all these tools I had no knowledge of before coming to college. Before college, my business was just like me getting by, right? Like one job at a time kind of deal. I didn't have it all laid out. I didn't have a business plan. I didn't have all the knowledge I have now. And throughout my experience in Cal Poly the past 4.5 years, I've been given all the knowledge and resources and tools I need to make my business actually a legit business that can run full time and, and employ people and stuff with it. So I think like going all throughout college, it's been really awesome having that because I've been able to work on it in a lot of my classes as well. Really in class, really, like I use my business as my senior project. I got approval to work in my business, and I always do. Right, definitely different. I documented it a little bit more. Use that as my senior project. Really cool, and you utilize some accountability resources as well because of that. So, yeah.
Gordon, you all said that there's a lot of instability sometimes in the field and uncertainty. I would just ask, like, what is the motivation sometimes when you do have those dips and like at least like a feeling in your head, and then how like, you motivate yourself to continue, but yes, like what brings that stability for you?
I feel like, going off of like that mindset, if you're talking about a fail, maybe like when your own startup, your own creation, I feel like you just always believe in yourself and knowing that like you're capable to achieve anything. Because sometimes, especially in entrepreneurship, like if you have this idea and you're not getting maybe the market validation you want, or you're not getting the validation from those around you want to be bringing it down, and maybe I should do this stuff. If you like can prove that this is like something that's sustainable, that you can like keep going, it's just believing that you can do it and like not giving up. I think is like the biggest thing. But if you're talking about stability, like career wise, I would say not to be afraid of that, because there's like a lot of stable careers. It's not like the time zone for right here, right?
Definitely an educator. Yeah.
So it's also a growing field. I feel like
Yeah.
if you ask your parents might, I remember my parents taught me that entrepreneurship was it's kind of like a risky field. Because back in their time it was. Now in 2023, entrepreneurship is well respected, right? People know what entrepreneurship is these days. So I think the connotation of it being just keeping your soft skills not being very reliable is almost a myth in the sense that these days entrepreneurship is really well respected, and that people recruiters see you entrepreneur and they understand the value you bring to the company. So I think that might have been the case a little while ago. I think it's really growing out of that. The entrepreneurship can be more and more stable as time goes on. People understand the value of entrepreneurs.
You know what happens when there is a recession or like the economy dips? Startups, small businesses go up. And that's just kind of like the natural ebb and flow. And there's actually read some really interesting articles recently. A bunch of the MBA grads, there's a trend of MBA grads buying like very unsexy businesses like laundromats or nail salons and those types of things. And like optimizing them to increase like their profit, their margin. And we find that just happens. So like this skill serves you where there's like when there are good big corporate jobs, if you want to go into that and you want to go help launch a new product, like that's very entrepreneurial, right? And then if the economy shifts or changes, you have the skill set to adapt. And I think we see that a lot through the ebbs and flows of the economy. And it's just, again, that feels really scary for some people, but that's what we're seeing happening right now through the pandemic. Small business and startups like increase dramatically. Yeah.
The question in front, yeah.
Yeah, so from the other extreme of like one side being like working on a startup or like becoming a CEO, like being your own boss, if you as an entrepreneurship major would go to like join a company, what are typical job positions that people go
Great
into?
Yeah.
Yeah. First, if you need sales, where I see myself, entrepreneurship teaches you so many skills, you go so many different directions. I don't have different answers to me. For me personally, where I saw my skills in selling mostly entrepreneurship, I feel I never was in sales, and management as well.
I would say it really depends on your experience. If you don't have any right now, that's totally fine. It's really just based on your experience, and I would say what you're interested in. If you don't have any experience, but you want to learn more about, as you can see here, it really could be any number of things. I would say, you know, yeah, it could be sales, it could be management. And, you know, on top of that, and this kind of relates to your question as well, just remembering that entrepreneurship as a whole is a very iterative process. And so maybe you try out accounting, and with an entrepreneurial mindset and realize that's not for you, go try marketing, go try finance. You know, it might take you a minute to find the spot that you like, but you will.
Oh, building on like, you know, like what job position you could have, I really say it's like what you bring to the table. Like, for example, I've known people who graduated here with entrepreneurship and now they're like leading marketing. You know, because like he was learning about like all the concentration. So if you decided to do entrepreneurship and you were like, wow, I'm like really good about learning about investments and funding, then you could be like the lead person who's like helping find investors for the business. Or you could be like the manager of operations or like something like that. So I feel like there's really no like limit to what kind of job position you could have. It's just really like what you put on your resume is your strength and what you bring to the table.
You know how to talk about it. Like, I think that really is like knowing how to sell yourself or whatever. Yeah. For some students, that's really scary, you know, like not having a really linear path. But I find for most entrepreneurship students, that's like freeing and liberating.
I'm graduating in December. I have no idea where I'm going, what I'm doing. I love that. Most people don't. I have no idea what I'm doing, where I'm going, where I'm gonna live, anything. I love that.
Yeah.
And to summarize, I think most of management, the most common things in management, however, it's super open that there's plenty of opportunities, but most commonly, I would say management.
I got a question in the chat. Someone says, how do you think being a transfer with a small business startup in the early phases will play out? Do we have enough time to gain enough knowledge to be successful after Cal Poly and build that network?
Students?
As a transfer student, I'd say a 50%, yeah. There's honestly so many opportunities. It kind of depends on like where you put your time, but if you decide that you're like 100% like I'm gonna grow this business, there's something we call the hot tree here, which is great because you just tell them your business idea, where you're at, and then they even help connect you with people who can help you, mentors, so many resources. And what's exciting too is like if you start gaining traction with whatever business you have, they can also connect you with angel investors so that you can really have your idea explode. So as a transfer, 100% yes, like you can totally thrive as a business, or even start one like your first quarter, your second quarter, even your senior project. You can start a business and be thrive.
Yeah, I would say there's plenty of time. It's like, it was by really fast, so it's important to spend that time wisely. But if you're, like I said before, if you put in what you want to get out, then there's plenty of time to get engaged, find people, make the connections, work on an idea or work with professors or fellow classmates, even classmates across colleges. It's like, what do you want to spend your time doing? And if you're really committed to it, there's a lot of time for it.
If you're a third-year transfer with your own business already, you'd be a fool not to do entrepreneurship, take advantage of all the resources they have. You likely could use your own business for class projects. You likely use your own business for your senior project. You only have 15 minutes. If I try to sit here and talk about all the opportunities Company provides for you to utilize their resources for your own business's benefit, we run out of time. You're an endless opportunity. So if you have your own business, you're a third-year transfer. You have 2 years, which is honestly half of what these guys have. If you're gonna do it fast, certainly unless your resources ASAP, you get pulled out to Cal Poly is so invested in the entrepreneurs and finance resources. You should definitely take advantage of those resources. Thanks for the question.
Well, do you want to talk about classes? Yeah, go ahead.
I was just asked, like, what minors do you guys have, and do you plan on like utilizing them?
Yeah. Minors?
I don't have a minor.
I also don't have a minor. I was actually originally an environmental science major. I switched during my first year. Just found that it wasn't for me. Definitely still passionate about sustainability, but I was trying in business. If I were to do it over again, I think psychology would be a really good minor to kind of marry with business.
Yeah, I don't have a minor either, but I've taken a lot of classes like outside of OCOB and even within OCOB that are not related to entrepreneurship, just because it's like, for me, it's been less about having like a minor on my transcript or whatever, as opposed to just like pulling information from all sorts of different classes that I want to like know about.
I have a sales minor, which is probably the most common minor entrepreneurs to have, I would say. I absolutely love the sales program. Went through it last year in cohort. So you have like same classes, same teacher, and same students all year for 3 classes, fall, winter, spring. It is an awesome, awesome program. You definitely leads to the sales model of what I've seen. I can't say enough good things about it. It interacts with really each outgoing and back to the people. I always really bond with people in the classes as well, which is a great addition, great networking, very, very professional people. But the sales program, the sales model is definitely to be considered as well. It's probably the most common model for the have sales. A lot of classes that will count as well. So like Biz 347, we'll talk about the second that will count for. A couple of these classes, negotiation comes double category as well. There's a lot of overlap between sales and entrepreneurship. And like I said earlier, a lot of sales, a lot of most adjustments. That's why the modern sales. I love it. The only added one quarter, right? I probably had like 4 quarters. I could graduate on time, which I was terrified of doing. But I got a minor and I'm still here. So don't leave too soon.
Okay, let's dive into class. What are your questions about classes? I want to be efficient with our time. Like, what do you want to know about them? Yes.
Do you like learn a lot of technical skills in this concentration, or like if you're trying to like do a startup and like want to get into product design, you have to do a minor for that, or is that just part of the concentration?
I think there's some classes you can take, more technical. I haven't taken a ton, and that's not what my interest are in. I think there's a lot of the electives, we're gonna find more of that, and maybe technology. Yeah, 451, new product development and launch, yes, it's gonna be great for you. I think if you have the capability of customizing your class schedule, a lot more you do other majors. I mean, entrepreneurship, it says very free forming, very flexible. It allows you to kind of pick the classes you're more interested in too. So personally, my school is not, but I know you can make your schedule more than skill as well.
Yeah, with products specifically, you may want to add in some like PhD classes, just because I think knowing and understanding the technology enough to be able to lead a team that's developing the technology is really important in that industry. There's some really great OPOP alum in products that do some really informative stuff on LinkedIn. I could do that too. What other curriculum questions y'all have?
These classes, you read these classes, you go, what the heck is that? And these classes like, what does that entail? Like, people will know. That's cool. I liked.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Wait, so like, how does it work exactly? Because it says like required 20 units. Are those are there more options? And then with the electives, like, do they all have to be like biz electives? Or like, how does that kind of shake out?
Yeah, so you're required to take, I guess, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, that's 5. Yeah, so you're required to take all of those on the left, and then on the right, you pick 2 of those electives. Yeah. And that's I believe that's the full list. So you can pick any 2 of those that best align with like what it is that you're interested in. So if you're more interested in the sales piece, the negotiation piece, or like product is more technical, product design and development, then you can kind of pick and choose.
It's also very adaptive.
Yeah.
Both my electives are on that list. I took 389 and 313, which are on that list. They're pretty flexible. If you have a class, you can communicate the value of the hospital education towards, usually will approve you to take that. So I took 313 customer development, which will approve an entrepreneurship elective. I took 389, which is the negotiations class as well, which counted for 89. So those are all the classes that are offered. Pick 2 of those. However, understand there are some more classes that can be offered. You can get permission board to use like I have.
You can also, like, you're not limited to just taking units. Like, you're like, oh, I want to take that class, that class, and that class. So you can take as many as you want. It's gonna obviously like affect like performance or time or whatever, but if you can manage it all, like don't hesitate to take as many as you can. Good question.
Would you recommend trying to fit as many of the requirements as you can in each quarter, or to like spread them out throughout your 3 years once you declare your concentration?
Because what I've done is I've like I'm obviously in my 5th year, so I've taken time. I don't think there's any rush. It really depends on you and like what your budget for college and what your personal timeline is. Personally, I think that 4 years or 2 years if you're a transfer is like a very short amount of time, and it's worth like spreading it out, maybe going a little bit slower. And by that I mean just like taking a few classes, but filling your schedule up with other classes so that you can gain that knowledge from different departments and whatnot. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend like someone to get it done quickly.
Yeah, the only class I would say, to take sooner than later would be, of course, the intro class, just to get out of the way, see if you like it or not, and then go from there, like that was just saying, you can spread it out from there, but I would take the intro sooner than later, even before you declare your concentration, if you have room for it, that way.
That's actually that class is a really good way to try on entrepreneurship. Like, I feel like that's.
Real quick, in Mystery 10, the intro to entrepreneurship, even not entrepreneurship major, you can take it for usually it's approved elective for a lot of majors, and then we'll get to that class, regardless of what you choose. Mystery 10, everyone generates like 3 business ideas, very, very small and no pressure ideas. You form teams, you share ideas, you pick an idea, and then you map out the framework to start a business. Pretty cool. It's super fun. And it's very like hands-on, project oriented group projects. Most people get the A in that class as well. It's not too challenging. But a lot of teams leave that class with a team, their roadmap for a business, and they take that business to the next level from that class. So I definitely consider 310 regardless of what you decide for your concentration.
So what do you think about like taking entrepreneurship as like a minor? Like, how did that?
You can't minor in anything that is a concentration as a business student. Yeah, so unfortunately, you have to choose as your concentration, but I know plenty of students are really interested in the startup space without declaring entrepreneurship, and they get involved through like Cal Poly Entrepreneurship. We'll talk about all of the CIE programs are open to all students. So, and you can add in a class or two.
I would definitely say that you'll thrive a little more if you're able to get out of that comfort zone. Like, for example, I did the elevator pitch before I even came here because I didn't even know what it was. Some lady was like, "Hey, you want to learn the bells and whistles?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I like signed up for this competition. And like, yeah, it was like super nerve-wracking to like get up there and do like my little pitch, but at the same time, understanding that everyone is a student here, everyone is a human, everyone is nervous, like it kind of helps you feel like it's okay. Because once you can get out of that bubble of like, oh my god, I'm shy, I'm like not talking to anyone, you're gonna be more liberated, more free, and you're gonna be able to enjoy the concentration.
Yeah, I would say, you know, it definitely helps if you're just naturally a little bit more outgoing and have no fear like that, but you will absolutely develop those skills in these classes, and I would encourage you, like, not only just put on the board to get involved with some outside organizations, whether that be CPE or, you know, business fraternity or doing other clubs and elevator pitch, other opportunities where you can put yourself out there in a safe space where people want to see you succeed. You can absolutely develop this skills.
Yeah, I would say that like this time in your life is gonna be the safest space to step outside of your comfort zone. And it's the most yeah, I think being able to step outside of that comfort zone that you currently have it's fundamental to thriving in an entrepreneurial kind of environment. And the reason is because of, the people who are thriving already are people who are willing to step out and take risks and like, yeah, public speaking, it's a scary thing. I remember when I was, a few years back, like even just being up in front of a class, like, get all nervous and stuff, but, the cool thing about it, I think it was mentioned, is just like you start doing so much that it just becomes, this fear that you had before, and now it's just like, oh yeah, we're all people, and there's just this opportunity to convey this information.
There's definitely a digital skill you get on leadership is the skill of public speaking, which is inevitable. You'll have to speak in your life. And it's super important. So you get that skill well. They teach you how to speak. We have 5 minutes left. We jump in the
Yeah,
so
let's do it.
the CPE, which you mentioned a couple of times, the Cal Poly Entrepreneurs, the CPE at Cal Poly Club for entrepreneurship. Right, it would be an entrepreneurship major on concentration. You have no entrepreneurial aspirations. You come out and hang out every Tuesday. The National Entrepreneurship Lab, which is in building 1, which is confusing, the Coachella Education Building, building 2, building 2. It's across, it's part of Oak, you'll find it, I'm confident in you guys. But in the National Entrepreneurship Lab, which is a great room, they had free pizza and great guest speakers. Networking, they also go on trips and they toured Silicon Valley Bank recently, is that right? Something like that, it's a cool bank. They visited Tesla last spring, do always cool trips to companies to go get the insights. But every Tuesday, have a meeting for an hour. It just will come in, it's super casual, just chat with people, network, meet cool people, meet your friends. There's great guest speakers, you talk about 20-30 minutes, do a Q&A, just hard questions, really fun. It's a great community. So I'm speaking there next Tuesday when we come out and hear more from me. I'll talk a lot. If you have time with me yet, come out Tuesday, 6 p.m. For a club meeting, and I'll be guest speaking, telling you about my business and my how I started my business and what I've learned my time doing it. Anyway, the CPE, anyone been to a meeting already? Okay, yeah, cool,
Nice.
awesome.
We love
I hope I
it.
see you on Tuesday. Lots of fun.
Cool. And so so there are so many resources, like you said. So there's the Hot House, the Accelerator, there's Startup Weekend, Innovation Quest, Hackathon, there are all the things still happening. So like, where is this the best place for them to learn more? Like, what's the entry point into getting access to all of those resources and getting plugged in with like maybe someone who does have a business idea or getting some hands-on experience?
Good question. Yeah, I mean, CPE is definitely a mindset to start. Build there in the entry, build cost to join. There's no application, there's just no groundwork, there's just no barrier to entry. You still up there, and everyone there is always more. You hear about leisure, you come up there and bring the media and tell you about what opportunity and competition are happening, right? Like the elevator pitch competition really mentioned, the application is due tomorrow, right? And so that's the big one he mentioned at the club on Tuesday. Hey guys, remember like elevator pitch competition, which is in November, applications are due on Friday. Hey, mind about those kind of things. So I think the CPE is a great way to like be very knowledgeable. The next step is the hatchery, which is across the entrepreneurship lab. It's a small business incubator for startups to help you get off the ground. Super cool. But the CPE is definitely where I say to start. To show up there and just ask people, hey, what's your deal? And network. It's cool.
I wrote the CIU's Instagram handle on here as well, because oftentimes that's a great place to see like up-to-date information about like application deadlines or things that